Always a natural-born leader, Mike turned to coaching as a profession and began to teach others the skills, strategy, and passion for the game he loves so dearly.
We both had opportunities to go to Carolina. We visited there, probably a number 2 for both of us. Vince Carter and Antoine Jameson were a year ahead of us. And so, you look at, are you going to play above those NBA elite stars? This is right before kind of one and done was done. So a lot of things weigh into it. I think looking back, we were, if I'm being honest, we were always better together. And so if we had, and he would say the same thing, if we had to make the decision again, we would have stuck together and played together. But I think things worked out for both of us the way they were supposed to. And you grew as an individual through that experience. But I think we would have went together. We were always, there's something about being on the floor and the innate sense of knowing where that guy's going to be, that we just thrived off each other. And I think on this court, people saw that.
One of the things is, you can see whether guys will be good coaches, how patient they are with their teammates, whether they pick up the stuff that you're teaching them pretty fast. He was good with the guys on the floor. He put people in places. He always knew what he was supposed to be doing. He would talk to guys, because you have some guys that you play with sometimes. They need direction within the game. Right. And it's always good if you have a player or two who can direct them as the action is going on. And I always thought Mike was really good at that. That's why I knew he would be good as a coach.
Yeah, he had an unbelievable demeanor. And part of it was his personality. And he was a giver. Like in this profession, you have to add value to young people. And if you're doing it and you're thinking it's just X and O's, you got to add value to young people. And I saw that in him.
I always kept in touch with him because, he coached, so he would call me, ask me about different things. He worked for a lot of the guys that played or worked for me. So we always kept in touch, talk a couple times a month. I had just talked to him probably a week before everything happened, 10 days before everything happened, just, checking in, what's going on. He was talking about coming in for a game, doing all those things like that. He was talking about, being there, being excited about there. And then, he said, I want to get in coaching. And we put him together with some of the people that's part of our coaching family. Then he came back to work for me a couple of years for Drexel. And the kids loved him. Basir Mason, who played for me, who's the coach of St. Peter's now, who played for me at Drexel. Mike was one of the assistants. Bosch gets a head coaching job. He hires Mike because he loved him when Mike was an assistant with me at Drexel. So Mike was, he was just a fun-loving guy. Unbelievable disposition. Guys love being around him. You know what I mean? Always happy. Always had good, good things to say, upbeat about everything. And people love that about Mike.
When he was here, he had an impact. And he impacted everybody around him. And, that says a lot. And for all of us, when it's our time, you just hope, did I make a difference for other people? And when you ask that question of him, it's yes. Yes, he did.
As you get into coaching, there were some connections just because, Derek Kellogg, who had worked for Coach Larinaga at George Mason, was close to those guys from the UMass days. So, you're kind of in those guys that are getting started in coaching, 22, 23, 24 years old, just getting started. You kind of just, the guys that are in your age group, maybe that are from your region, maybe you knew them from playing or high school or camps or what have you. And John had been working at James Madison, which was in our league at George Mason, and, kind of run into him. You're at Madison, I'm at George Mason, we should hang out, when we get some free time, whatever. So, we, became friendly with John, and then obviously with Mike as well. And, Mike obviously was a really good player, both in high school and college. And, his career took some twists and turns, like a lot of coaches, when you're moving around, you're trying to get the next job, you're doing the next thing, trying to advance, trying to figure out a way. His attitude was so positive all the time. He never had a bad word to say about anybody. always encouraging to people, his friends, people he knew in the business. Loved the game. I was super passionate about the coaching and the teaching, and the kids, and just was so positive all the time.
Sure.
And I've seen in our business a lot of people not be as positive, I mean, about their experiences, and so I thought that was something that was really unique and special that he hung in, like 20 plus years in coaching, which is hard to do in different capacities, and was not cynical at all, was really, really positive about it, which I think is it's commendable.
He spent a lot of time at my house when we were growing up, and when we were 15, 16, 17 years old. I said, hey, it's going to be my first time being a head coach. I'd like to have someone that I have some familiarity with. In the end, he made the decision to come, and he's done a great job for us this year.
For Long Island Nets head coach Sean Fine, a friendship that began 25 years ago over basketball came full circle this season. With an open spot on his coaching staff, Fine reached out to Mike Babul. The two grew up an hour away from each other in Massachusetts, but played on the same AAU team. Babul was wrapping up a 17-year career as a college coach and was intrigued by his friend's offer.
That made the transition very easy. Just someone that you trust and you've known for such a long time, and you can, bounce ideas off of him, ask him questions. Sean's just such a great guy and easy to work for.
Mike Babul was a 4-year star at UMass. His twin brother Jon played at Georgia Tech and was instrumental in getting Sean Fine down to Atlanta for off-season pickup games that ultimately led to a scholarship offer from the ACC school. Fast forward nearly 3 decades, and their relationship is as strong as ever.
We played a ton of games together. You kind of think the same way, and that translates into coaching a little bit.
The game is so different from the college level to the NBA level and G League level, so but he's picked up on it really quickly and been an asset for us.
I told friends that jumping into the pro game was like being dropped off on Mars. I mean, just throw everything you knew in college out the door and learn the NBA game from scratch. And I think I've been able to do that.
Even though they're childhood friends, same age, same roots, the coach and assistant coach dynamic has been seamless.
I understand my role, and I've had the opportunity to work for a bunch of close friends, I would call, in the business. I think he trusts me, as an assistant, which is what you want as an assistant, someone that trusts you, and you want to be able to trust your boss.
Was playing for the buddies with John and Mike because they were playing up, and then I joined and started playing them when I was 15, I believe. So we started playing AU together, and then we just became close from there. I'd go to their house, in the summers for weekends or whatever, and we'd all hoop and work out and have fun. Plenty of time spent at the cases, plenty of times battling with Fez, playing some 2-on-2 with John and Mike. So as competitive as you can get, still to this day. I actually was when I talked to John yesterday, he was with Fez, and we were just talking shit. But yeah, he was a good player, man, and fiery competitor. So it's a crazy story, to be honest. So after my freshman year at Stonehill, Mike and I took a trip because Georgia Tech was on like the quarter system, so they didn't end school till like, I don't know, June sometime. So Mike and I hopped on a flight, went down to see John to like hang out, party a little bit, whatever. And we ended up like playing pickup with the guys at Georgia Tech. And I played really well, and guys were like, where do you go to school? And I told them, like, why are you in Division II? And I was like, didn't get recruited. So some of the guys I was playing with down there was like Stephon Marbury, Drew Barry, Matt Harpering, and like those guys were like trying to advocate for me to come down there. Like, well, you should come down here. So, nothing happened. I thought it was pretty cool, but whatever. But the next summer, same thing. After my sophomore year, went down there, played again. Same thing happened. And, from there it was crazy. Like, they ended up recruiting me, and then I went down there after I intended to transfer. So, yeah, it's a wild story. Like, if I don't know John or, be friends with them or Mike, like, it doesn't really happen, and who knows where I go. But yeah, it was wild.
To penetrate. Tony Akins looks up. Sean Fine, baseline shot for the win. Got it! Is! Oh, great execution! What a big shot! Great execution, a lot of poise, a lot of patience. There's still time left. 1.3 left, but that might be the winner. What a nice job of executing, Mr. Nessler. They get the middle range jump shot. Fine shot that with unbelievable control and poise. Poise, patient, and points. The 3 Ps. There he is right now. They overload. He gets a little head fake on Bogans, leaves Bogans, and there's the little jumper. And look at the reaction to the bench.
I was with the Nets for 4 years, and in my last year, I was the head coach for the Long Island Nets, which is their G League team. And that was when Mike was kind of like, he was at Wagner, but didn't really want to go back. So him and I were talking. I was like, listen, like, I'm going to get the head job for our G League team. Like, would you be interested in being an assistant? Like, try to, see the pro game. And he was like, yeah, I think that would be great, whatever. And then it ended up working out. So in 2019-20, he was one of my assistants for the G League team in Brooklyn. And like, what a great year. Like, we reconnected. I'd been in Brooklyn for 4 years, and we had hung out from time to time. Just, he was over in Jersey, but we would meet up in the city, have lunch, have a couple drinks or whatever. So being around him on a daily basis was really cool. Taking us back to, when we were 17, 18 years old. So kind of a full circle moment. It's kind of cool.
Mike and Jon had such a unique bond they even created their own language to communicate, and others soon were following.
You're never going to guess what happened. No, you didn't. Hey, we're going for a ride. Listen to some tunes.
Chet came, we were big movie buffs, so whether it was Rocky, Top Gun, 80s movies, well, Weird Science was one of those. And there's a character in the movie called Chet.
He pukes, you die. It's not a lot of me, Chet, it's just... Did he tell you about the one we made tonight? You gotta meet. He's obviously out of touch. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No shit.
That name stuck from a young age, like middle school. Like, he'd be like, yo, what's up, Chet? And it was just a sticky name. And then we'd say it, and our friends, we go up into the park, and there'd be, just 20, 30 kids around playing wiffle ball or football or, basketball. And Mike would call me Chet, or I would say, what's up, Chet? And then it kind of came like just a sticky word that everyone used.
His smile. The kid can light up a room. He lit up the gym. Whether you're a complete Chet or that guy's a chief, and we had our own lingo. And it was an everyday thing. I get messages from him every day. Chief, give me a call back.
By the time we got out of high school, it was like we could use Chet as a noun, an adjective, a verb, like, those are real Chet-like sneakers, or, what a Chet that guy is, or hey, Chet. Like, it took on I don't know, some people would think that doesn't even make sense, but anyone who was in our network of friends, to this day, Chet lives.
I'm going to the bar. I'm going to your dinner. Give me a ring. Those are our things. And we've had those things our whole lives. So all of a sudden it's gone.
Even at his funeral, I had a couple of t-shirts made that said, I'm that legendary Chet that everyone's talking about. And there was one other that I gave Anthony Peary. He would have it. But that was the basis behind Chet. It really came out of like our love for 80s humor and movies. And then Chief, like you think we'd walk into a camp one time at Craig Moscato's basketball camp, and one of the coaches used to call us Chief. He used to call everyone Chief, all the kids, like, hey, Chief. And when you're a kid, like, the staff, the counselors, you look up to them. And from that camp on, that summer, I mean, we were probably in middle school, Chief was part of the language. So Chet and Chief, yeah, two words that stuck and are still used to this day. You know, even when Mike died, he used those words around all the kids he coached. I'll have college kids he coached call me and be like, man, I miss Chet, or God, I want to hear him call me Chief one more time. So it's just funny. It's funny how those two things evolved.
While chasing his own coaching dreams, Jon fell in love, but it was the distance that allowed them to grow closer, developing a deep understanding of each other and a foundation that has kept them strong through their most recent life events.
We met, I was, I think 30, and he was 23. When I met Jon, there was another athlete that is in their realm that was trying to, we would all go to the same bars and clubs in Atlanta. And there was a couple of these athletes that would, hit on certain girls and stuff. And there was one guy whose brother really hyped him up and was always trying to get me to pay attention to him or go out with him or whatever. And I had zero interest. When I met Jon, he was working he was athletic director of a Christian school and also a coach at 23 of this Mount Perrin Christian school. And then to help out with a couple of guys that he knew ran these restaurant and bars, he would come in because he was a big guy, kind of act as the front door guy, if you will, basically act. Okay. And so my recollection is that I met him going into the VIP area. And all I remember about that night is, I know what I was wearing because he's told me a million times, but I remember in my memory, he asked me a lot of deep questions. And I thought, why is this guy asking me all the, like, tell me about your best friend. Who's your best friend? What do you like to do? Kind of, what are your hopes and dreams kind of thing. And at that point in my life, I was like, I'm going to move to LA and, write TV and movies. That's what I'm going to do. Right. And so I wasn't even looking for anything. And he was going to go off and be a coach. And he really kind of put the full court press on me for the next couple of weeks. Friends and I just called him Big Blue because I didn't know his name. So back then, you got someone's phone number out of a phone book. So he asked for my number and I said, it's in the phone book, thinking I'm cool. And he never called, obviously. And then a couple weeks later, I see him, he's got on a blue shirt, and my friends are calling him, there's Big Blue. And we pass each other, and this is in the same bar or club or whatever. And I think I said something like, why didn't you call? I don't know what I said. But anyway, we ended up talking all night, going back to a house party. And he was very persistent. And I found it enduring because he was young. And I think he told me he was older than he was, I thought. And because he's such a big guy, I didn't think of him as young. And he seemed very old soul, deep and talked and everything. So we went out for a couple of months, kind of like, okay, I'll go, but I'm going to move to LA, right? And somehow in that year, I fell in love with him. He fell in love with me. And then he got the call to become a coach and took off to Virginia. And so we dated off and on for 5 years, long distance. And our relationship cemented by phone calls because we would talk and I'd tell him about my day. He would tell me about his day. So we got a really deep connection, emotional connection, because we spoke a lot because that's really all we had, right? I didn't understand the coaching world at all. His boss at the time used to laugh at me because they were doing a 2-a-day and I came in town and I went to his head coach and said, well, Jon can't do that because I'm in town. We didn't get married till the 8-year mark. So that was in 2001. Yeah.
In high school, Loyalty, toughness, and discipline worked so well for the Babul brothers because it was naturally being instilled at home from the dad, the colonel, and their mom, the nurse. Mrs. Babul passed away from ALS in August of 2015, but the impact she made on her family and the people she surrounded herself with will last for generations.
That's the three nicest people I've ever met in my life. Kathy Sigmund, Miles Sigmund's mom, Joan Babul, Mike's mom, and Mike. You know, you put that, and Mike is a direct reflection of his mother as far as when it comes to kindness, compassion, you know, doing the polite things and stuff like that.
My mom was just the best. She was a nurse. She never missed a game. She drove us, you know, from gym to gym to gym, and never complained. She was a rock, you know. God bless her soul. She passed of ALS, which is a really bad way to go, and you know, she took that disease to 8 hours before death until she went to hospice. And I think she did that because she didn't want Mike, myself, Jeff, to suffer. Like, she was just a tough as nails woman. And I think Mike and myself, I think we get a lot of our toughness, believe it or not, from our mom. She modeled it. She was just a tough woman. And, you know, that's who they were. You know, they were blue collar. They were good people. My mom loved to host a party. I think that's where we get a lot of our personality. Mike and I never, you can attest to it. I mean, we're the same people we were when we were in middle school that we were when, you know, Mike was player of the year in the state, went to UMass, and just loved to be around people, loved to have a good time, and respected people. And we learned that from our parents.
She was an angel. I mean, she was as positive could be. You know, she was a mama bear. She'd protect her kids, that's for sure. Was always level-headed. Didn't show any outbursts. You know, when you say lead by example, she kind of led by example. And a friend to everybody. And
you know, his mother was a great woman. She welcomed me in their home. She actually treated me like the fourth son. You know. I remember going to their home. She would feed me. She would, you know, take care of me. You know, and their dad as well. Mike Babul Sr. You know, welcomed me in their home as well.
You know, I can't say enough about their mom. She was just a sweetheart, genuine. Always treat you like you were hers. You know, like their house was your house.
She was one of the best. She really was. She was just a sweet, sincere, funny. She was always funny. She always had a joke. You know, she's well missed as well.
Mrs. Babul was like a second mom to me growing up. And Mike had so much of Joan's personality. He really did. Like, wouldn't you say, more so with Joan? And him and his mother were so close growing up.
Yeah.
She was a nurse at Rhode Island Hospital. You know, she was just always around. If John and Mike wasn't there and I was walking up there and they were playing AAU basketball, whatever, you know, Mrs. Babul would be there, and I'd sit there for hours and talk to her.
I remember when we were, you know, roommates, and Mrs. Babul would come up for a game, and she always brought the biggest care package, and, you know, I know we were both excited. I mean, you know, get baked goods and you know, anything that she would bring in that care package was great, but Mike was always excited when she came to a game because he knew she was going to bring a care package. So
she would keep us out of trouble because we'd get into trouble every once in a while. She'd hide it from Mr. Babul because he was like the army guy, you know, the drill sergeant kind of. But he was always he loved us just as much as his own kids.
Losing a parent's hard at any age. But I think what my mom instilled in us and the things that I take, and my brother Mike and my brother Jeff, I mentioned her toughness, but her love, her unconditional love is what stands out. Like, she loved unconditionally the safety net, the blanket of being around my mom growing up. You know, if my dad was hammering us with grades or discipline, we always fell back on my mom.
Grieving their mom, you know, and watching them both through that was hard for me.
Joan was an unbelievable person too. Like, you can see that in Mike and Jon, you know. You know, I was around her a lot when I was younger. She was so welcoming. Like, whenever I'm in the house, taking care of the boys, taking care of whoever was there. She felt like everybody that was in the house was family. So, just talking to Jon and Mike during that time, obviously, it was really tough for them because she was everything to them. She helped them, growing up when they were older, everything, and that was a tough time for both of them, and it was tough to hear them go through it. That was a tough one for those guys and for everybody that knew Jon.
My mom opened the door to everyone. And even when we got to high school or college, it was not abnormal to see 2 or 3 people sleeping on the couch and upstairs. And we'd wake up and my mom would have breakfast and coffee. And she was born to be a mom. And she did it well. And I try to mirror that as being a dad. And just, if I can take half the woman she was and pour it into my kids, they're going to be all right. The Cases went to visit my mom 1 hour before she went to hospice. 9 hours before she died. And Mrs. Case was probably one of the last ones to talk to my mom, and she said, "Take care of my boys." And Mr. and Mrs. Case said, "We got them." And they've had us. I get emotional talking about it because that's what they mean to me.
She's the nicest person you'll ever meet. I think that she was very humble. I think she was simple in a way that I didn't quite understand. Her whole entire world was her children. She really taught me a lot about not being selfish as a parent, because I have all these dreams and things that I want to accomplish.
Mrs. Babul is definitely my second mother. There's no doubt about it. She was like, Mrs. Babul to me is like the safe place. Like, you could tell her anything and she would listen to you. So no matter what you were going through, she would always, you had that comfort of her. And she always looked out for us. She wanted us to make sure that we were doing the right things.
I don't think I could ever compete with her. I think I grew up in the South where men take care of women, right? And, you're doted on, if you will. And in the North is a little bit harder. It's a little bit, everybody takes care of themselves. And so I think what it taught me was, and I'm still learning this from Jon, to be honest with you. Jon is, I would say love language wise, is acts of service, right? So if my daughter asks him at any moment to do anything, he'll go do it. Whereas I might be the person that say, I've already done this, I'm going to go to bed. I'll put a boundary up, I'll do whatever, right? To take care of my own mental health or physical health. I think what Joan taught me was I had more to give and to exercise that.
She had retired and she got to spend 4 years with Sophie, 2 of them healthy, 2 she was suffering from the disease, and she saw Weston born and got to hold Weston. And I'm forever grateful for that. But you can't help think like they got robbed of this wonderful woman. And I wish she was there. I wish Mike was still here, because they're just such a big part of family to me. And there's a party that's mad that my kids will never get to see that again. And so my job is to keep their spirit alive. And they both live in me. I am who I am because of my brother Mike and my mom.
Down low. Cut. Now cut, Luke.
I'm coming home again.
There we go.
Started a business in the middle of the pandemic, driving from driveway to driveway and just grinding. And where he took that group work business in 5 years was who he was. That was his North Attleboro roots coming out. And hey, I got fired coaching at the Brooklyn Nets. I'm out of the NBA. I'm going to go back home and I don't care if it's a pandemic, I've got what it takes, and I'm going to bet on myself, is what he would say. He goes, I bet on myself. And for 5 years, he put his heart and soul into that business and his coaching here in this community.
He was starting to hit his stride. He was really coming into his own. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He had a plan, and it was just going to grow. I mean, hoop work was going to grow to a whole nother level.
But it wasn't easy. The first couple of years he did it, there wasn't many kids at the camps, maybe 20 to 30, and that was mostly just like friends of the family's kids. And then next thing you know, they got over 100 kids.
COVID hit, our season ended in March, like middle of March. We still had like 8-10 games left, but obviously the season was canceled. And then Mike ended up going back to Mass, and then he was trying to figure out what he was going to do, as with everybody else during the pandemic. And that's when he kind of started the individual training stuff and started his home business, and that kind of took off for him.
His love of teaching the kids basketball, I think he loved that more than anything. He loved his teams. He loved his kids. He loved them. He didn't have kids. So those were his kids. My kids were his kids. All the kids that came to him were his kids. He loved them. And he cared about them. A lot of these guys that do this stuff, they do it for the money. They do it for the extra cash. They don't care about the kids. He actually cared about these kids. Whether or not the parents wanted to hear certain things about their kid playing on a team they don't belong on, and he should be playing over here. Well, no matter what, he was trying to point them in the right direction and trying to teach them and trying to get them to play hard and play for him, and he did.
After losing his NBA coaching gig because of COVID lockdowns, Mike headed home to start over and made huge impacts in the community that made huge impacts on him. While figuring out the path he wanted to take, Mike formed a strong bond with Ronnie Welch, and while coaching with her, made a huge impact on a local team that he thought early on could win a state championship their senior year, and made a special bond with a player that he deemed a special kind of talent.
So after that year, he was doing a lot of training, so this would have been 2021. But he was bored. He was like, I miss coaching the team so much. And I said, what about AAU? And he said, I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. And I said, listen, Mike, I'm going to do a FAM team. I want all of the boys from FAM that were in potential for varsity, etc., Brian and all his friends. I said, I really would love for you to coach it. I said, I'll get the parents. They'll pay extra for you. It'll be amazing. So that spring, that we were his very first AAU team. And we were debating where to go, and I think Rick Patch had said, do it through Swarm, and that kind of was the catalyst, if you will, for his doing all of the AAU that he did. He had so much fun that first year. He's in it, he's like, it goes beyond basketball, guys. It's, looking out for one another. It's really making sure that you guys are a team inside, talking about the team and everything, and how you develop those relationships on and off the floor, and that's how you get not just better on the floor, but in life with friends. Really listening, seeing what they need, and not just thinking of yourself.
I just graduated from high school, so I'm in college now. So I'm not playing basketball anymore, but she just coached it for the last time. So.
Yeah, the boys asked me, which was really, Mike would say it's your team, Ronnie, but it was like they played for Mike, you know what I mean? But I just, when I brought the team together, North Attleboro, it's a bunch of kids that come up through North Attleboro and they play together. So they've always been playing together. But when you get a team like FAM, you get all of these kids that are from everywhere. And so I knew in order for us to succeed, we had to keep playing, and that's why I did it. And so when Brian graduated last year, we lost Mike. It was obviously devastating, but the boys reached out and they were like, "Would you coach us still?" And I was very humble. It was amazing, and we had a good season, and I completely felt Mike there so many times. Sometimes be like, "Okay, Mike, I'm in a timeout, dude. I need your wisdom."
McNally down the other end-to-end stuff. Yamila gobbles up another board. Awesome addition to them. He's really, really talented. Floater knocked down by Gibb. Webster. Gill on the wing, fires it into Baltazar. He's a receiver on the football team, showing off the...
He was my basketball coach for AAU in the fall. We had a Thean team, and he was my coach for that sophomore year and that junior year, and we really bonded very well because we had very similar, like past the high school, and, him being a very successful D1 athlete, he helped me a lot to just kind of learn about being a D1 athlete, learning how to still enjoy high school and be a kid while competing at the highest level. He taught me to be confident, in anything I do. He taught me to, do everything with pride and have just, a want and just want it, whatever you do, no matter if it's baseball, basketball, or whatever you're doing in your life, to just want it and have to always try to do whatever you can to get to the next level. Yeah, since my sophomore year, he was telling everyone that if he was coaching Thean, we would win a state championship and that this team's going to win a state championship. And we were kind of riding that all of last year before I got hurt, especially when he did die. And when he did die in December, we were kind of riding that high to do it for Babel, and because he helped, the entire team and not just me. And then especially getting to kind of finish the job and do it, he always said that we were capable of doing it. He always said we're capable of winning a state championship, and we should. And then doing it for him was just doing it for him was just meant so much to the entire town of North Attleboro and Attleboro, to kind of bring it home for someone who was so influential in the area. Just think about it, because it was more, he was so flexible with me, especially because of baseball when I was so busy, and it wasn't even a lesson that I think of, it's something he taught me that it's just kind of so natural now. It's just to always be flexible, but always to prioritize what you need to prioritize. It's like, you have your family priority, then whatever your top sport is or whatever your job is. And he just taught me to always, prioritize baseball, because he knew that's something that was my future, is baseball. And that even though him being a basketball coach, he would still tell me to, prioritize that family and that future of baseball more than prioritizing basketball. He wanted, he would get on your ass when he needs to get on your ass, but he still wants to be, he knows you're a kid, he knows you make mistakes, he knows that for 99% of kids, basketball isn't, their end-all, be-all, their life or death situation, and he knows that if he makes you come to practice wanting to practice every day and wanting to be there, you're going to succeed a hell of a lot more than if he makes you come to practice not wanting to be there. Maybe we could start again.
Life isn't always easy, no matter how talented you are. Mike was navigating his own life and his own wins and losses, trying to find his way while developing a close bond with his sister-in-law.
We started talking for hours upon hours daily. And he was really grappling with his mom's illness. He was trying to go after his coaching career. He was trying to save a marriage, if you will. And he was kind of, not sure where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do. I was trying to help him get to the bottom of are you unhappy as a person? Are you unhappy in the marriage? Are you unhappy in your job? Like, what is it? When their mom died, she said to me, the only one I'm worried about is Mike. I'm not worried about Jeff. I'm not worried about John because you'll teach him everything. And because I'm older is what she was saying. And she said, she said, because y'all have a family and y'all learn to love and you'll teach him and everything. And she said, but I am really worried about Mike. His mom was a nurse too, and things, Right. And I just was worried. And I couldn't really put my finger on it, Mm-hmm. But my biggest concern is he could not push through the pain. And it was the betrayal. And I think because Mike was never a person that would betray anyone, and because he gave his heart so freely, that I think that he was just baffled that someone had done that to him. His last girlfriend had a lot of positives too, but they had a very tumultuous relationship. And so I think at some point he kind of betrayed his own wishes, which were go after this coaching thing 150%. But he had women that were basically like, what about me? Because that's how we are, right? And I think that when he and his first wife divorced, I think he thought, okay, I got to make this coaching thing happen because I just blew up my world, So I think when I say betrayal of himself, I think he was really pissed at himself for a lot, as he saw failure. And there's a lot of shame and guilt in general in the Catholic world, And so I think there was a lot of struggles with him for those reasons. He thought, well, if I just give all of my heart, everything will work itself out. And he didn't really probably take care of himself. I think he was fighting for what he wanted, but I don't think he was able to take care of himself. I mean, their family did so many things right. And they, when I first met John, my girlfriends called him concrete because they were like, no matter what you do, he's not going to go. Right? And the reality is when they love you, and they're going to be there. And I got 2 for 1, and so it was interesting because I noticed in all the people that Mike ever dated or was with were jealous, if you will, of their relationship. And that's a hard word to say, but envious of their time or whatever you want to call it, right? I never felt that 1 minute of my whole life. I only felt loved. And so I wanted them to be together. They were better when they were together. I mean, they were mischievous, but they needed each other. I mean, to this, if Mike came in town and I have a long U-shaped couch, John and Mike would sit right beside each other on one side of the couch and I'd sit on the other. Right? I mean, they were like this. And I knew I also had a place right there if I needed it. So I think I welcomed it and I loved watching it so much and I knew how much it meant. It didn't, I just saw it as a plus.
Everyone thinks at your age, I need to go out there and show the coach that I can score basketball. Right? Well, it's going to be an ugly tryout if that's the way everyone's thinking. What's going to catch your coach's eye is, number 1, how's this kid's attitude? Number 2, will he fit in on my team and be a good teammate? Number 3, is he a competitor? All right? Just competes on every possession. Like, takes no plays off. That stuff translates to winning. Is he in shape? Will he just run the floor every possession? Like, that's a skill in basketball. Not many guys your age can play a whole game and run full speed every possession because they're not in condition to play championship level basketball. If a shot goes up, go after every rebound, offensively and defensively. Okay? Those little things and those little intangibles of the game will catch any coach's eye.
While being the director of basketball for Swarm, a local Massachusetts AAU basketball team, Mike brought in a local he knew through local ties, and while coaching together, he was coaching and molding her to be the area's next great coaching talent.
And growing up in a football town, it's very obvious. You go to school all week, and on Friday after school, everyone gets in their parents' cars and we all go to community field. I mean, that's just how you grow up. And growing up in a football family, especially my dad coached my whole childhood. All my uncles played, my brother played, my cousins all play, they still play. I mean, not just going to the games, but actually experiencing. When you're a little kid, you get to play on the sidelines during the game. And growing up in a football family and a football town, the focus is mostly on Friday night football games. From a young age, growing up in a North Attleboro family, my dad's one of 6 kids, so all of them went to North Attleboro High School. My grandmother went to North Attleboro High School. And sports was always a big part of their lives, and right from the time I was a little kid, sports was ingrained into us. And I took to basketball pretty quickly, along with every other sport that I played, but basketball was the one that I truly loved. And growing up in a basketball town, and the sport was growing at the time, especially on the girls' side, seeing names like the Babuls and all the other 1,000-point scorers on that banner, you grew up in that atmosphere of knowing that there are really, really influential people in the basketball community here. And the Babels specifically, I would hear that name growing up all the time, whether it was their camps, and I was in elementary, middle school, starting to go and experience some of those camps, experience their name just in the community as a whole. When people talked about North Attleboro basketball, the Babels names were always mentioned as the first people. And in a community where the sports are so strong and so focused on, those names came up in conversation more likely than not, almost every single conversation. So knowing that there are such large basketball names in this town, as a little kid it was really inspiring to know like there are people that don't only just play basketball in high school, but they play in college and they go to other places and they have influence in even the NBA. So seeing a name like that growing up is super important, not only for me as a kid, but everyone else around me, and knowing that there are bigger things out of high school as well. And if you work as hard as they did, and we grew up watching the old game films, and we'd go on North TV and be able to see all of those different clips, and our coaches would show us and they told us stories about them. And that was a really eye-opening experience as a little kid. I might have not realized it back then, but now it kind of really shows you, as you look back, how much of an impact it was growing up. As the basketball community continues to grow in North Attleboro, I start to follow. And I think the girls and the boys program both in the last couple of years have definitely been in a growing phase. And as we continue to grow, the stands continue to fill. And not only just with high school kids coming to watch their friends play, but I see people from the community that I haven't seen in years since I was in high school. And I see old teachers coming back and watching games. And I see just people that you see on a daily basis when you're walking downtown. Basketball is starting to grow back in North Attleboro. And yes, there is a big football focus because North Attleboro is such a football-focused and driven town because of the success. And basketball might have kind of taken that second sport mentality in North Attleboro, but I believe even though the football team is so strong, the basketball team is catching up, and we're starting to kind of push towards more people in the community coming out to games and really focusing on what we're trying to build here, not only as a school, but as a basketball program as well. And I got a text and it said, "Mike Babul just passed." And I said, "What? What do you mean? What do you mean passed?" And they're like, "Mike Babul passed away. Mike died this morning." And the feeling of like the sinking heart, and you feel like all the emotions just drain at once, and you kind of just feel nothing in that time period. Everything just stops and slows. And I remember sitting in my bedroom, and we had company over downstairs. So I went upstairs and I texted my parents and I said, "Can someone come up here? Like I need someone up here immediately." So my mom came rushing up the stairs, and I told her what happened, and she's like, "Are you sure? Mike Babul, are you sure? Like that Mike?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mike passed." And I just remember the first thought that came across my head was our 6th grade girls basketball team. I mean, those kids worshipped him like he was LeBron James himself. I mean, those kids, every time that he walked into the gym, would dart into his direction, hug him, give him high fives. They loved him so much, and my heart just sank for those kids. I just thought, like, I don't know how they're gonna recover from this. They literally look forward every single practice, every single game, getting to be around him and see him. And then I thought about my high school girls. Every single one of them had been influenced by him in some sort of way, whether they went to his camps, whether they played AAU for him, all of those types of things. And I just kept thinking, those kids, that's gonna be a moment in their life that they're never going to forget. I coached for Swarm for the last 3 years, and my first year coaching with Swarm, Mike took me on board. Ashley Keppo was the varsity basketball coach at North Attleboro, and she asked me, do you want to coach AAU, and help Mike Babul out because he was coaching between 12 and 14 teams at the time. And she said he really needs someone to just kind of help him with practices because he had multiple teams at once. And when you walk into a gym, you would see Mike running back and forth, making sure he was getting all of his teams at once. And he just kind of needed someone that he could trust and someone that he could depend on to be there every single day to bond with the girls. And we coached a 5th grade and an 8th grade team at Swarm together. And it was really just a good opportunity to kind of get back into basketball because I had just graduated college. So I had just graduated college from UMass. I was doing track up there for the last 4 years, and I wanted to get back into the basketball world. I'll never forget the first day when I walked in the gym and I was nervous. I was like, I don't really know any of these people. They're all a tight-knit community in the Swarm family. So I walk in and he gave me a huge hug and he said, hey Jules, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And most people in my life call me Julia. Only my family calls me Jules. So the second he said that, it really hit home. And thinking about it, sorry. Yeah, thinking about it, it's like the impact is way larger than I could have imagined. I still coach Swarm. I still coach the 8th grade team, and now they're 10th grade. So they were 8th graders when Mike and I were coaching them together. And a bunch of them are on my high school team as well, so I'm very close with all of those girls. I didn't know them before I coached Swarm with Mike, so Mike kind of grew our relationship with each other, me and the girls, and having them on my varsity team now, it just feels so full circle because I know what they learned from basketball is from Mike, and everything that they do, it's ingrained into them, so it's just so cool to kind of keep that process going and keep coaching them in the fall and the spring, and I get to coach them year round and ingrain all of those things that Mike taught us both. And it's not just what he taught them, but also me too, and how to coach them and how to be positive and all of those little things that he would say on a daily basis. I try to continue to say on a regular basis to these girls, not only at Swarm, but with my high school team too. And I coach track and I still say the same exact things in track. Everything that he taught me in a coaching sense and how to approach certain things, really just, it can continue through any sport, and honestly just lessons of life as well. I mean, he always talked about turning the page. I mean, that's not just a basketball thing. That's an everyday life thing, right? You have a bad day at work, you have to turn the page and you gotta go to work the next day. Everything that he kind of taught me are things that I'll carry not just through coaching, but through every life experience as well. Coaching-wise, Mike has taught me more than I could even imagine, and that's only being with him for a year of coaching. I mean, I could not imagine where I would be today with 2, 3, 4 years next to Mike on the bench. And the cool thing was he would be at the games and he would tell me I was the coach and he was gonna help me. So he saw what a bunch of people had been telling me, like, you're gonna be a great coach, the girls are gonna love you, all of these things. And he really was the one to kind of let me do my thing and guide me along the way as well. I'd call a timeout, he'd give me a pat on the back and say, that's a perfect timeout, now what are you gonna say? And then he would walk me through, all right, make sure you hit on this too, don't forget about this. And then I would make sure I would hit all the points that I had in my mind and add what he wanted as well. But he really just let me kind of do my thing, but guided me through it. And I would not have the confidence to be put in the varsity position this year without those experiences. I mean, if I would sit on the bench and let Mike do his thing, which I wanted to do at first, I was so excited to just kind of sit by his side and watch him coach and learn that way, but he didn't want it that way. He wanted me to coach and for him to be able to guide me through it. And I mean, that's like the biggest selfless act anyone could ask for, especially for a program director to take the back seat and be like, you got this one. And he had the trust in me without barely even knowing me. Just knowing my family, knowing that I'm a North Attleboro kid, knowing that I love the sport of basketball and I love the kids that I coach. He knew that that was going to drive me to be the best coach I could be. Before every single game, I have the little picture of Mike from his memorial, and I give it a fist bump every single time before a game, before I head to the bus or before I walk in the gym. It's just kind of that bringing back into reality, remembering the things like that he told me from the first day that I ever met him, when we were coaching Swarm together. I had met him a few times when I was a little kid, but meeting him as an adult was a whole different experience. He truly took that mentorship and knew that he had an influence that he could make me the best coach that he could in that time frame that we coached together.
After taking the job to be North Attleboro's head basketball coach, Mike got a call from Thayer Academy about an open position they had to be their next head basketball coach.
I came here one summer with a buddy, Harrison Arnold, who used to play on the team our sophomore year. So I got recruited by Mike Jones, and I was really excited to come play. And I was repeating my year. I was doing a reclass year. And then I came here, and about like 2 months in, Mike Jones got fired, or he resigned. I don't really know what happened. And everyone was kind of in a panic. And then we were like, who are we gonna have as a coach? Everyone was kind of freaked out. And this is 2 weeks before the season started.
We were in the market for a new basketball coach, and his name came across my radar. It was Lamar Reddix over at Milton Academy. Lamar and I were doing a lot of talk, and I was like, Lamar, I need a good coach. And he goes, Mike Babul's the best coach out there. He goes, but if you can get him, he goes, you'd be lucky. I don't think he's in the market. And so I said, give me his contact info. I picked up the phone and I called Mike, and he was on vacation in Aruba. And I said, I'm Bobby Moran, I'm the athletic director at Thayer Academy, and I want to talk to you about the boys' head varsity basketball coaching position. And he kind of laughed, and we had this great conversation back and forth and back and forth. And by the time I hung up, I said to my husband, I'm going to get that guy. I talked to my head of school and I said, listen, I want him on campus. I want him on campus. Like as soon as he touches down, I want him on our campus. And so we did. He landed and drove to campus and met with myself. And then I like prepped him for what the meeting was going to be like with our head of school. You know, Mike shows up and he's Mike. He's like the smile, the sort of like, swagger, and like I don't know how this is gonna go, but and so we're talking, and I'm like, okay, just follow my lead, like just be yourself. And so he's kind of nervous in the interview, and he just said, I've been in the college circuit for a really long time, and I drive by this place every day, and I think if I could be there, that would be my dream job. There was this little tiny issue that he had already accepted the position at his alma mater.
He took the North Attleboro job, and then like 2 weeks later, the AD at Milton Academy, a guy named Lamar Reddix, called him and said, hey, I know you always told me that your dream job of coaching in the prep school in New England would be Thayer Academy. And so it just so happened he got that phone call like within 2 weeks of accepting the North Attleboro High School head job. And it was a really tough decision for him. We talk about cortisol levels. Like I don't think he slept for 2 weeks when he made that decision. I think it haunted him for the first year because he felt guilt in letting North Attleboro down, but he really wanted to go down that path of chasing his dream. And I think he said, I got to look out for myself. And so that ultimately was why he took the Thayer job, and he was trending towards building them into a New England prep school powerhouse. Like they were, I think, 6-1.
I got back on the phone with him, maybe as he was driving home, and I said, listen, we got to make this work. And he's like, I know, but I feel really bad and I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, season starts in 2 weeks. And I was like, I am going to make this the best job of your life. You are going to love it here. And he, we kind of went back and forth. And by the time I hung up, I had him. And he's like, I don't know how I'm going to make this phone call to the athletic director. And I said, just call me beforehand, call me after, I got you. And he called me before on his way there. And then he called me afterwards and he's like, I did it. I don't know. I feel terrible. People are going to hate me, And I said, don't worry about it. I said, you're a great guy. They're going to love you. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. I said, and Thayer is going to love you. And I mean, the rest, as they say, is history. He was amazing from day one. He walked in and I said, you want to pull the parents together and have a meeting? So on this court, he walked in, he gathered the parents and he's like, look, I can coach you boys. I can give them whatever it is they want to do. I can get them to the next level. If they want to get to the next level, he goes, but I can't do anything unless we're a team. And he had him. It was like hook, line, and sinker. They were immediately like, and he's just got that wry smile, and he's got a way about him that people trusted him. And the boys kind of looked at him at first, and then they bought in. They bought in hard, and he helped them find a gear that they didn't even know they had. So
everyone's gonna fail in basketball. You're not gonna make every shot. You're not gonna you're gonna have turnovers. You're gonna miss rebounds. You're gonna make mistakes. And that's part of the game. And a lot of coaches, I feel like some coaches view it as if you make a mistake, you're coming out of the game. Babul, he taught us to learn and grow from the mistakes that we made. It was never that's part of the game. You just learn to roll with it. And everyone says it. I've never had a coach like Mike Babul. And it's so true. No one's gonna have a coach like him. I genuinely don't think there's he was kind of one of a kind in coaching and the person that he was. And I would think that we were really close, but it turns out he was the same way with everybody he knew, I called him probably 2-3 times a week, cold called him just to talk, not even about basketball or just how you been, what's up. He was just a great guy to be around, and it goes beyond coaching, because I think to be a good coach, you have to understand your players. And there's no coach who can understand a player better than he did.
Immediately, everything clicked. My confidence started going up because of the things he would say. He'd be like, don't worry about the possession, next shot's going in, focus on the next play. And he would always give me great advice, but he would also, it was just a lot of constructive criticism. It's if you do this, then this will happen. And that actually worked. It worked. You had to buy into what he was saying. And playing with him for four seasons out of the year, playing for him winter here and the 3 other seasons in AAU, it really showed how great of a coach he was and how great of a mentor he was to young men like myself.
He had the ability, so as a sophomore, I was younger on the team, so my role was pretty limited. I was probably 8th guy off the bench. I was a defensive player and a 3-point shooter. But it didn't matter what your role was, if you were the best player on the team or a bench player on the team, he treated everyone like they were the star player. And that was what made him so impactful and made our team so successful. Because you could have guys step in, let's say one guy got injured or one guy's not playing well, you have your bench come in. And instead of your bench being nervous, oh, I'm not a star player, I can't do this or that, you would be coach believes in me, I'm stepping in the game with confidence. I know he has my back 100%. You're not scared to turn the ball over. You're not scared to make mistakes, because he would never yell at you in the way that's to put you down. Yeah. Everything was encouraging.
Mike had a way of making you feel like the only person in the room. Even though he was completely aware of the rest of the room, when he looked at you and he engaged with you, you were it. And it wasn't in a way that felt disingenuous in any way. It was in a way that felt like, I care about you. I care about how you feel. How can I help you? And he did that with me. He did that with the boys. He did it with the parents. He was like the parent whisperer. And the way he was with our boys, like, he was a mentor, he was a friend, he was a coach, and he was the person who they knew always had their back. Always. And he was never gonna lie to them. He was always just so straight, you know? And they knew that if they gave him what he needed, they would be better. And they would walk through fire for him all day long.
World turns black and white.
hard on everyone on the team and everyone around the team. We didn't end up as good as we wanted to, but just whenever we'd step in between these four lines, it was always for Coach Mike. No matter who we were playing against, no matter how good they were, we just dedicated everything to Coach.
Losing Coach was definitely like one of the hardest ones. It just stuck with me like a lot. I think it's because, you know, when you go from seeing someone every day, we play basketball 6 days a week, whatever, 2 hours a day. And it was like, it went from being like the best time ever practicing, winning games, you know, starting 5-0 in the ISL, which is very difficult, to like a complete stop. And it's never been this, like, in my eyes, the program hasn't been the same since. And, you know, finishing the season, we tried to like come together as a team. And I think we did really well, like all things considered. I mean, you lose your coach, some teams crumble, but we were really there for each other. But it's just a really big like hole to fill. And I don't think to this day it will be filled again for like, I think it was like a once in a lifetime team, you know.
Our coach now is definitely a lot different than Coach Mike. You know, no one will ever be like Coach Mike. It's just a crazy comparison because Coach Mike was, I do say, the best and coach that I've ever had. And yeah, you know, big shoes to fill, and those shoes have not been filled.
When we hired our new coach, the first thing I said to him was, you have the hardest job in the world because you got legendary shoes to fill. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So like, I'm here to support you, and like, just, you got to keep understanding, you know, like, you are not Mike Babul. You're never going to be Mike Babul. I didn't hire you because you were anything like Mike Babul. And these kids love Mike Babul. So how are you going to do it? You know, what do you need from me? What's going to get in your way of success in order to get there? And I didn't anticipate it being as hard as it is. It's brutal. It's brutal. I've been a head coach for a really long time, and I've coached for a really long time. I wouldn't want this person's job because Mike was the man in so many ways. And he didn't quit, and he didn't choose to leave. He loved these boys, and they loved him.
The next segment discusses Mike's natural cause of death and may not be suitable for all ages.
Sunday night, he'd gone out with friends or whatever, and wound up coming back to his friend's place, and he has the heart attack. And we get a call. John got the call first from the friend because he knew the friend. And then John had to call me in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m, something like that. I think he died around midnight, a little after midnight, so it was probably 3 a.m, our time. And John and I talked, and we said, well, we got to go out there and see what's what. And so we wound up both booking flights, and later that day, you know, we flew out to San Antonio, hoping to see the medical examiner, but it was, December 30th. Everybody was off for the week. So we never did see anybody, didn't really get any answers. We got some phone numbers, and we talked to the on-duty person, but we didn't get any answers till, you know, after we get home.
Just trying to understand it, but I mean, how do I grasp losing my identical twin brother in such a shocking manner? I was with Mike Christmas night. He flew into Atlanta to visit me, my wife, and the kids, Sophie and Wes. And he was fine. You know, he was coaching at Thayer. His team was doing great. He was really high on the squad. You know, he'd been going through a breakup with his fiance at that time, and there was some stress involved there. He had moved out of his house, and he was living alone in a condo. And so he was alone on Christmas morning. And I said, what are you doing, man? And he was just down. You know, he's like, I'm sitting alone in my room. And I said, well, why don't you get on a flight? fly to Atlanta. And there was, he was a little like, I don't know. He's like, I got to be back in 4 days for basketball practice. I said, just get on the flight. So he did, thank God. I picked him up Christmas night in Atlanta and hit Waffle House on the way home, probably about 11 p.m. Christmas night. He loved going to Waffle House and, eating some eggs and bacon and a waffle, and came home that night, Christmas night, and just normal interaction. Sat on the couch, watched TV, went to bed. Next day he gets up, he's fine. We're talking December 26th, and he really wanted to see my kids, Sophie and Wes, and took them shopping the day after Christmas. And Sophie came home with like 10 bags of Lululemon and all her shops, and it was just her and Mike, and they got to spend that that time together. And Weston, my son, wanted this electric e-bike, this dirt bike, and it was like $3,000, and I'm like, I'm not getting you that. And I think Mike, being the great uncle and never having children of his own, in his relationship, he became very close with Andrew and Tommy Rossi, who, his fiance was Maria Rossi. And I think he was kind of a father figure to them in the home, but more so a friend. He loved those kids dearly. And, due to the breakup, he wasn't around family. So he came to Atlanta, and that's what he wanted to be. That's where Mike was at his best, was, he felt comfortable when he was around me and my kids. And so he had that bike sent to my house. My son, goes in the garage, and the smile on his face, like that December 26th, those last moments they got to share together were super special. We got to go out, have a good time. And then I dropped him off at the airport on December 28th, and it's about 10:30 in the morning, and he was running late to his flight to El Paso, and I just kind of fist pumped him. I said, hey, I'll see you at Logan. I'll see you at Logan in 2 days, because me and Weston were going to fly up there and see him coach a few games for Thayer Academy. Never in my mind would I thought that's the last fist pump I'm going to give Mike. And why was he going to El Paso? Well, he loved it out there. He coached at UTEP for 4 years. Loved that part of the country. He had 2 more days off during winter break before he had to go back to Thayer and coach. And so he said, you know what, I'm going to go out and see my friend Mike Mendoza, who I haven't seen in a decade, and spend a couple, 48 hours out in West Texas and enjoy the holidays, kind of shut it down a little bit, and then get back into basketball to start the new year. And he was there in El Paso for less than 48 hours and never made it back alive. And so when I received that call, I had to wake up my kids that next morning, and it was the toughest part for me, because Weston and Sophie go to bed, and Weston thinks he's waking up to go to Logan to see Uncle Mike, and at 2:30 in the morning our time, I was notified of his death. So I immediately booked a flight to El Paso, called my dad, notified him. I said, hey, this is just terrible news, but Mike died, and my dad's in shock. And I said, do you want to go to El Paso with me? I got to go recover his body. And my dad met me at the airport. My dad, you've seen on this documentary, he's a stoic guy. He's a colonel in the Army, a coach, a school teacher. I think I saw my dad cry once in my life when we left for college. He maybe teared up, but this was different. My dad met me at the airport, and he cried for 2 straight days. Couldn't get through a phone call. Losing a son, it's not supposed to happen. And I spent those 2 days in El Paso with my dad, and saw a side of him and a side of hurt that it just sticks with me. And as a parent, you're a parent, Steve, like, that's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to play out that way. And for me, it was just a whirlwind. I fly out to Texas literally less than 8 hours after I'm notified, trying to get answers there. The medical examiner's office is closed. I'm calling, trying to get answers on how and why and what happened. And, in the state of Texas, because of the manner of death and it's so sudden in the time, there's, a police report filed because they have to go interview Mike Mendoza at the house where he was at and, just make sure everything was above board and the facts lined up. And, I'm fielding these calls and then trying to get answers. And, I've got a news station calling me back in Boston saying, would you mind hopping on the phone? And at that time, you got to understand, I don't even know how he died, other than speaking initially with the medical examiner who did the autopsy that morning of his death. Just said his heart was in bad shape. It was twice the size. His heart was twice the size of a normal heart. It was 600 grams of weight to his heart at death. That's called cardiomegaly. For someone his size and weight, it's supposed to be about 350 to 400 grams in weight, and Mike's was 600. So the only thing I knew at that time, Steve, was that he had a heart attack. It was plaque that broke off in the left anterior descending artery, which we discovered later, 100% blockage. But at that time, all I knew and all I had to go with on those interviews with the news stations was he had cardiovascular disease, serious cardiovascular disease, based on the initial look at his heart. And so I received a lot of questions, obviously, as did the entire family. How does this happen? And I didn't have the answers at that time. So when I was on that interview, I said, hey, he had long-term cardiovascular disease, undetected, undiagnosed. That's all I had to go with. And I was craving answers at that point, but had to wait for the autopsy to run and toxicology is run. Mike wasn't an illicit drug user by any means, but he's in El Paso. It's right over the border is Juarez, Mexico, the drug capital of the world, the cartel capital of the world. There's a lot of nasty things happening in that area, and my mind's wandering, did he slip something at a bar? Did someone do something? Mike's dead. I can't call him. Everything I talked to Mike Mendoza about it was just a normal night. And that's really what it was. He went out to dinner, had a steak, a salad, potato, had a glass of wine, went back to the house later that evening, and they were watching Landman, Billy Bob Thornton show, because he started binge watching that show with me and the kids and my wife during the holidays. And so he was finishing a couple episodes, and at about 11:45 that night, he goes to the bedroom and he collapses 15 minutes later. And the people in the house with him, they're doing CPR and 911's on the phone within 1 minute from collapsing. And no one thought when he collapsed that it was a heart attack. They thought, did he faint? But he was unconscious when found, and he was found within 15 seconds of collapsing. And the ambulance was there 9 minutes later. So CPR was performed within a minute to a minute and a half of him going down. The ambulance arrives 9 minutes later, and they put the AED machine on him. They shock him on the foot of the bed in the bedroom where he collapsed. They move him into the kitchen, try to shock him again, and he was unresponsive. He was out of it. And 30 minutes later, he's pronounced dead at the hospital there in El Paso. And it happened that quickly and swiftly, and it was that massive. And I've got the autopsy report and the diagnosis. I'll just read from it. It said, here's the pathological diagnosis: hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. That's what I knew at the time. When I was interviewed, that's what I knew leading up to the funeral. Cardiomegaly, 600 grams, the heart weight at death. The average heart for someone his size is supposed to be 350 to 400. Says he has critical coronary atherosclerosis with segmental occlusion of the left anterior descending coronary artery. And so when you hear the term widowmaker, that's what Mike died of. He had 100% blockage in the LED, and the left anterior descending artery supplies 50% of the blood and oxygen to your heart. And so for whatever reason, plaque broke off, and that was the major cause of the death, is a widowmaker heart attack. And, he had some right ventricular dilation. His tricuspid valve circumference was a little bit large. He had moderate aortic atherosclerosis, so his aorta, had some signs of wear and thickening. And then he had some plaque buildup at the vessels going into the back of the brain. So he didn't know it. He had no clue. And me being his identical twin brother, I have identical DNA. 48 hours before Mike dies, me and my son are playing basketball with him at Lifetime Fitness down the street here in Atlanta. He's laughing. He's high-fiving my son. We're lifting weights. He looks like he's in great shape. He was working out once or twice a day. And so to answer the question why and how did Mike die, or why was his heart in that bad of shape, the answers that I've come across in the last year to reflect on it and looking at my own health is, lifestyle was probably a big factor. In terms of the medical side of things and medication, he had hypertension, for 15 years. That hypertension runs in our family. I'm on blood pressure medicine. I'm on a statin. Mike was not. He was on blood pressure medicine until 2020. And when he was let go from the Brooklyn Nets, when the staff got fired, he was out of a job. He was off his medical insurance at that time, and he stopped taking his blood pressure medicine. And it was low. It was like it was borderline hypertension, 140 over 85, 135 over 87. Like, he felt like he could manage it. And he hated going to the doctor. He hated the bracket of insurance and going through the system. And he put it off, and he never got back on blood pressure medicine. So Mike lived in a state of hypertension for 4.5 years leading up to his death. That had to have been a major factor in, some of the other things. Lifestyle, he was a coach, for 20 years, he was Division I coach. A lot of stress in that field. You're traveling, you're not sleeping normal hours during the season. You're eating fast food at times, which is a choice, but Mike did that. So he lived a very hard lifestyle. And then the 4 years leading up to his death, he starts his own business. He starts hoop work, and he's, living out of his car, basically building a business, which he loved doing, but driving from driveway to driveway and working a 16 to 18 hour day because he was a one-man show. I mean, he was doing the books, he was collecting the bills, he was filing the taxes. At that time, he's living in the home with his girlfriend, fiance, Maria. He's being a father figure. Andrew and Tommy have a great dad in their life, and Mike was never going to step in and fill those shoes, nor did he want to. He just wanted to complement raising those boys, and he loved them. They both played basketball, they played golf. Mike didn't have children of his own, so for that, last 5 years of his life until, he split up from Maria, he was doing something different. He was working during the day and coaching, but now he had, this responsibility at home. And he took great pride and had a lot of fun with Tommy and Andy. And, still to this day, talk to Tommy and Andy on text. And I know that had to have been a big loss for them as well. So I think the lifestyle stress of coaching, being a business owner, Mike chewed skull tobacco, did for 30 years. He would do Zins, he had the nicotine addiction. That obviously not great for the heart long term. High caffeine intake. He loved Starbucks. He loved Dunkin' Donuts. There's nothing for him to have 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee in a day. And, as I'm still trying to make sense of it. How? Like, why? Coffee's not supposed to kill you. Chewing a little bit of skull tobacco is not supposed to kill you at 47 years old when you're healthy, on the outside. There's a lot to be said about like cortisol release. And, Mike lived in a stressful environment, very stressed, being a business owner, being a homeowner, a failed marriage. I think that caused a lot of pain, grief, shame, embarrassment. His first marriage to Colleen Scott, he loved her and he loved her family very much. And when that relationship went south, I think that just really aided him, that he failed at it. And he would talk to me about it. And, he went into inpatient counseling, but, within inside of a year, outside of that failed marriage to Colleen, he was in that bad of shape and not knowing how to handle it. And when your system's in fight or flight and you're, got chronic stress, I can't imagine the cortisol levels help your heart conditioning. And, building the business, and then he gets engaged to Maria. And, 5 years into the relationship, that wasn't going to work. I think he got an email on December 9th from Maria, and it was basically hey, we tried, but it's over. So 3 weeks before his death, his fiance emails him, and, I think he was struggling. I know he was struggling with that because he loved Tommy, he loved Andrew, and he loved Maria. And he was just in a bad place mentally in terms of stress and life stressors leading up to his death. And I talked to you before about testosterone. Like, did that play a role? He was taking a shot of testosterone treatment for just to feel good and have energy. And he probably felt fatigued because his heart was in that bad of shape, like 70% to 80% blockage in every major vessel and artery, based on the autopsy findings. And he didn't know. And, if I could go back, I would have pushed it. I would have said, get your heart checked out. He had a physical exam 6 months before he died. I read the medical notes of that, and it was a normal physical. He borderline hypertension. He was not prescribed meds at that time. If he was, he declined. The only thing he was taking was ibuprofen for pain because his back hurt. He was on his feet all day. But he didn't really have any pronounced medical conditions leading up to the heart attack. And I guess where I kick myself is I should have pushed him more to just be proactive. My wife works with cardiologists. I've been on a blood pressure medicine and a statin for over a decade. And I just didn't have those candid discussions with Mike. Didn't really have a need, so to speak, because he always looked healthy to me and never really complained about any signs. But if he had gotten an imaging scan on his heart, he would have seen, the doctors would have found, the narrowing and the plaque buildup. And if he was on a statin, who knows? He's probably alive today. And so I can't express enough, and I have to all my friends, get the heart checked. It's definitely worth it. And, I was going to, why was his heart 600 grams at death? I asked my cardiologist, I asked the medical examiner, was like, this is not normal, right? They're like, no, it's not. But, you know, he was taking testosterone, and, you know, there's great benefits of testosterone for healthy males. But someone like Mike, who didn't know he had narrowing in his vessels, the viscosity of your blood when you're taking testosterone can thicken. It's a thicker blood, and if you can imagine, he's pumping thicker blood through narrowed vessels in his heart all day. And it's like curling, like it's curling heavy weight all day, and just as your bicep would grow, your heart grows. And so that was the reason for cardiomegaly. I mean, for 5 years, not on blood pressure medicine, dealing with hypertension, and then pumping probably thicker blood through narrowed vessels, his heart grew. And that's what I've been able to find, you know, that kind of makes sense of it, because I have identical DNA. It's lifestyle choices, it's the coaching, it's the failed relationships, it's the grief, it's the cortisol release when you're going through stressful moments in life. And I think Mike lived in a high stress state for the last 5 years of his life because of those factors. And at the end of the day, it was a perfect storm for a widowmaker heart attack. You know, 100% blockage, you don't recover from that unless you go down in the hospital. It's like a less than 3 or 4% chance of surviving that type of episode if you're outside of a medical facility. And although CPR was performed, although the AED was hooked up, you know, within 10 minutes of him dropping to the ground having the heart attack, he was gone. It was that massive. And so it took a lot of time for me to gain all this knowledge that I just shared. And going through the funeral, didn't have those answers. You know, in the back of your head, toxicology's not coming for 8 to 9 weeks. And I'm fielding questions. My dad's fielding questions. Jeff's fielding questions. And all we could do at that time was share what we knew. And, you know, the toxicology was negative. I was 99% sure it would be negative. But being in El Paso and being near Juarez, Mexico, and, you know, just that 1% of wonder, did something else happen? And I got that confirmation, you know, 2 months after the autopsy was performed. And so the last year has been about me making sense of it and getting my heart checked out, talking to my friends, making sure they get scanned, because it can happen to anyone. If it happened to Mike, and he was in the gym all the time. I mean, he loved working out. He tried to stay healthy. He did not eat terrible. He had a sweet tooth. He would always eat desserts. He probably packed on a few extra pounds. Maria was a great cook. And he loved to eat, but nothing you would think of where he's going to die at 47 of a massive episode. And if anything could come out of this, and the people that are watching, you know, whether you're a male, a female, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, Mike would want the message to be, put your health as a priority, physically, mentally, get help, get counseling, get your heart checked out, get your physical annually, monitor your meds, know what you're putting into your body, all those things. And I just wanted to share that, because that's how we lost him. No one saw it coming, and it can happen to anyone.
A widowmaker heart attack is the most serious heart attack that we see. It has the highest mortality rate and the highest complication rate. It's called the widowmaker because it has a higher incidence of death associated with it than other heart attacks. A widowmaker heart attack differs from other types of heart attack basically based on location. This heart attack happens from a blockage in a specific artery called the left anterior descending coronary artery, which is on the front wall of the heart. Because it supplies the majority of heart tissue, it has a more deadly prognosis when this happens to a patient. Symptoms of a widowmaker heart attack are very similar to any heart attack that we see. It's the classic things that we think of: chest pain, chest pressure, shortness of breath, palpitations, dizziness, sweatiness, lightheadedness, and sometimes people can even pass out from this.
I get the question all the time, Steve, like, what happened? How did Mike die? Walk me through that night, December 29th. It was a normal day. He was having fun. He texted me in the morning. He slept in. He worked out. He went to a dinner that night in El Paso with a good friend, Mike Mendoza, who he was staying with. And Mike was a friend that Mike had befriended when he was coaching at UTEP for 4 years. And he hadn't seen Mike Mendoza out in El Paso, and that's why he was in West Texas. He had a couple days to burn, and before he had to go back to his team at Thayer Academy and coach, and they were 5-1 at the time. He was riding a high. He was in Atlanta for 2 days and talking about how proud he was of this young team and the special guys he coached and his vision for where that program was going to go. You know, he had a goal to win that New England Prep School League, and he was putting together a team and coaching them hard, and they were having a great year. They had beaten 2 or 3 ranked teams in the NEPSAC, the New England Prep School League, and he had a 5-day break. He was in Atlanta for 2 or 3. Spent some great holiday time with me and the kids. Spoiled Weston and Sophie, on shopping sprees and gifts. And then he went out to El Paso for 2 days just to see friends. And he loved that part of the country. And he never made it back to Boston. I got that call at 2:30 in the morning from the hospital on December 30th that he was pronounced dead. And at 6:30 that morning, me and Weston, my son, were supposed to fly to Boston to meet Mike and then spend a few days in Boston and go watch him coach. And it never happened. And that night, if I could timestamp it, it happened so quick. And what I was able to put together over time and talking to everyone that was around it is he went to dinner. He had a steak, potato, a salad, 1 glass of red wine. It was a normal dinner on December 29th. And then he goes back to Mike Mendoza's house where he was staying. He watched a couple episodes of Landman, the Billy Bob Thornton show. And it's, 11:15 at night. And he says, hey, I got to go to bed. I've got to go pack my stuff. And I've got to go to the airport at 5:30 in the morning is what he tells Mike Mendoza, because he's going to meet me in Weston. And he didn't make it out of that bedroom. He collapsed. And, at 11:51, he was found unresponsive at the foot of the bed. 911 was called. They were dispatched by 11:59 a.m. El Paso, Texas time. The ambulance arrived. So we're talking about 8 minutes. That CPR was being performed on Mike in the house where he was staying. And the ambulance arrives. They find him unresponsive. They take over CPR. They've got the AED. They strap him on. They electrically shock him, trying to get his heart back. Nothing. He was unconscious when he hit the ground. He wasn't breathing. And they moved him into the kitchen. A minute later, they try to shock him again. Nothing. And, he gets on the ambulance. He arrives at the hospital, 7, 8, 9 minutes later. And at 12:34 a.m., he's pronounced dead. And so it happened that quickly in a matter of 40 minutes. And it was not on the radar at all. Sudden, tragic, widowmaker heart attack, 100% blockage in the left anterior descending artery, out when he hits the ground. Probably didn't suffer much because he was unconscious, not breathing, heart and cardiac arrest. And I guess that's the silver lining is he probably didn't suffer. It happened so quick and was so massive. But go from watching Landman to 40 minutes later being pronounced dead at the hospital. It's been over a year, man. I'm still in shock. And we'll never have the answer why and how. And I mean, medically we know what the autopsy showed, but this is not supposed to happen to a 47-year-old male. But it does. And that's why, if there's anything good to take out of this, it's what Mike would want is people to stay on top of their health, physically, mentally, take your medicine, get your annual physical. As you get older, have a cardiologist, all those things that unfortunately Mike didn't have. He did go for a physical once a year, but he didn't have a primary care because of the lifestyle he lived, coaching in different states and cities, and he wasn't under the care of a physician regularly, and it wasn't a huge priority for him because he just didn't have any signs. But if he would want anyone to take anything from this, is you don't have to have signs, because although on the exterior you look good and relatively fit, if he had known what his heart looked like in the state it was in, I know Mike would have been on his blood pressure medicine. I know he would have been on a statin, and he probably would still be here today. And coming to grasp with that is the journey I'm on, and we're not going to get him back. And how do you turn that into a positive? And that's what Mike would want. He would want people to watch this, listen, learn, and know that, hey,
Thousands came to Mansfield, Massachusetts to pay their respect to Mike and his family.
The football community in Massachusetts is grieving the loss of a beloved local coach. Good to have you back, everyone. I'm Dan Janik.
And I'm Emily Bowles. The sudden loss has left loved ones devastated. NBC 10's Kennedy Buck has the story.
When thinking of 47-year-old coach Mike Babul, many call him larger than life.
He'd walk through the gym and had an ability to impact so many athletes as soon as he walked in.
And that impact started at a young age. Mike Babul, along with his identical twin brother, Jonathan Babul, are credited for putting basketball on the map for North Attleboro after playing for the high school for 4 years. Mike continued to shine as a college athlete at UMass Amherst and then helped future generations during his long coaching career. He was the head coach for Thayer Academy and a director for Swarm New England, a national youth basketball program.
Mike was incredibly positive and uplifting.
Last week, Mike Babul had a sudden heart attack, a loss that no one was predicting.
Kids are devastated. They have looked at Mike as kind of that larger-than-life figure for them. He's been an incredible coach, a great mentor. He has been there through a lot for these kids.
I'm also told that Mike Babul's impact went beyond the basketball courts. He also touched every single person he met.
He just had this infectious personality where he could, whether it was 100 kids or one kid, he kind of made everyone feel like they were home with him.
A memorial is scheduled for this Friday, with the turnout expected to surpass 300. Proof that his impact was felt by many.
Break it down. TA on 3, family on 6, 1, 2, 3, yeah. 4, 5, 6. Family.
A beloved basketball coach getting buried today.
Thayer Academy coach Mike Babul was buried in North Attleboro today. He died of a heart attack last month at the age of 47. He played at North Attleboro High School before starting at UMass Amherst. After graduating, he coached at Seekonk High School. Then he moved over to Thayer Academy. Now, his twin brother says he had been living with an undetected critical heart disease, according to his autopsy. So now they want to create a foundation in Mike's name to raise awareness about heart health and give scholarships and tuition help to young basketball players.
So, I've been tasked to do this without crying, and I will, because I've cried a lot.
You can cry,
I know. I just want to say, like, I cannot tell you how loved we feel and how much Mike loved everybody in this room, and he would be so happy to be here. Right, Anthony? He would have some techno going or Whitney Houston or something. Mike was the best. He brought out the best in everybody. He was the most fun. He was the only person I could pick on Jon with, and we could just look across the room and make fun of Jon. Jon recently bought a Hummer, and me and Mike laughed really hard about it. And the last time
I don't know why you laughed.
I called, well, we were just laughing. We used to say, Jeff knows this, I used to call Jon and Mike the 10-second pause. Right? In case you remember that.
Yep.
And I said, you ask Jon or Mike something, it takes 10 seconds, and then you get the answer, right? And God forbid if you made no plans, because you couldn't make plans with them, right? So everybody that would ever date Mike or anybody would be like, what's the plan? I'm like, don't ask. Just show up and just come when you can come. Everything is the way it is. We were riding in the limo today, and it was the first time we've been in somewhere as a family without, And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I started to get upset. I was like, Mike would be laughing so hard about this right now. He loved everybody. He was so happy about Shannon and Jeff. If anybody doesn't know, Mike told everybody Shannon's pregnant.
Top secret, right, Jeff?
Make sure it's done that great.
Baby backpack already.
I want to say that his friends were so important to him. Everybody that loved him felt his love. I did for 25 years. Deeply, when you marry a twin, you marry both of them. And I was married to Mike too. And I'll never forget him. He's such a great uncle. And it's a testament to Senior, everything you did raising those kids. Don't make me cry. And Uncle Jon, he loved you.
I loved him.
I know. And Fez held court yesterday, boy.
Yes.
Fez, thank you for everything you did. Everything you do. And the cases. We love y'all so much, and the Fezzicks and the Atchisons and everybody that's here, and Anthony and everybody, and we love y'all so much. Jill, you did a good job. I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all so much. I was asked to come up here. I love to speak.
We're on a podcast.
Yes, Mike did a clap. Tell them about when you were on the plane.
Yeah, we were at a ride in Disney, and the people said, the guy
This is
said,
after they received the news.
after we were there trying to put on a brave face for everyone, but the guy couldn't get everyone's attention on the rock and roller coaster, and he said, listen, I want everyone's attention. 1 clap, 2 claps, and all my kids just.
That's what Mike did.
And then Mike would do half clap, and then whoever clapped would be like, got ya, got ya, got ya.
That's how we did it.
So we were like, thank you, Mike,
Thank you for sharing your
And Jason and Amy, thank you for having us. Thank you for everything y'all do for us. All the cases, we love y'all. I'm 1.5.
Here we go.
So Mike's smile, his charm,
and his phone calls,
his heart, his passion, his humor, his humility, and his zest for life. Legend. Here's to Mike. One last time.
One clap.
Legend. Just so you know, it won't be the last time.
Mike would be like this right now.
Here we go. One clap.
Thank y'all for
And Mr. Babel, by the way, you're gonna have to come back because everybody's pushing to get your son's jerseys retired in that gym. So you're coming back, and we're gonna make sure that happens.
There was years when Attleboro dominated basketball. I could get this wrong a little bit, but I think it was like in the 60s and 70s. There was a stretch of Attleboro winning 20 plus games in a row until Coach Pickering at North Attleboro stopped that streak. Don't know the exact year. I think it was 68 or 69. My father would know because I think he was on the team. I think Mark Forbes was actually on the team. And I think it might have been 69. Then after that, North went on a run, and North had won similar, close to 20 plus games in a row in basketball. And then my coach, Cliff Sherman, who was a North Attleboro resident, took over at Attleboro High School as the basketball coach in 1984 or 85, and took some time. And after a couple of years, started to work with our youth program to try to bring everything back because a lot of the youth basketball was cut during the Prop 2.5 and everything like that. So there was a resurgence of basketball again in the middle of the 1980s, and more players started playing. And the competition between Attleboro and North Attleboro definitely got better. And then we finally broke through and we beat North Attleboro. I believe it was the Deppis brothers at the time. And I remember being at Attleboro and I believe we upset them. And so Cliff lived in North Attleboro and my brother Tommy was on the team and I was a sophomore and he was a senior. And, we gave Coach Sherman a hard time and because he was saying, hey, now you can go cut the grass outside, and because he would always say you can't go outside and cut your own grass because people are always bothering you because you can't beat North. So he's like, Coach, you get to cut your grass this spring. That was kind of the beginning of the end of a run of a lot of wins and a lot of losses for teams, and it's gone. The rivalry has gone pretty consistent. Wins and losses back and forth through the last 25 years. I think that, and it's always been a healthy rivalry. And when North Attleboro called and asked if we would adjust the game and add the girls' game and adjust the schedule, I was honored for them to ask us to do that. And especially for Mike and his family. Attleboro, North Attleboro, is for the years that we do compete and we have a rivalry together, we're a lot closer than people think. It's a healthy rivalry. And, I believe Attleboro is always there for North and North's always there for Attleboro in these types of situations. And, definitely, with the loss of Mike and what he's meant to the community, he continues to give back with his family. I know John's doing a great job, and his brother Jeff and his dad to try to continue with his legacy of working with kids and being a part of our community. So we're thankful to be part of this program.
his Attleboro family here. He's got his North Attleboro family here. But there's one more piece of the family missing. Hey, Pete Mercio, you got some more family? Nice UMass teammates.
Which still looks pretty much the same as it did 45 years ago. And that's what's special about this place: the grit, the hard work, the passion, the pride. Things that I took from this gym that carried me in life, and I still apply in the NBA today. Whether I'm broadcasting a game on ESPN or whether I'm in an NBA arena, the character traits that my mom and dad taught me, my uncle, my grandparents used to sit right there. That stuff is priceless, and this place is special. And I know Attleboro has it too, because I've been in both of those gyms and I've grown up around the athletes in both communities. And cherish that because it doesn't exist everywhere. I've been in a lot of gyms in the country. And what we have in this small community, in this pocket, and it's built by the people. Pickering Gymnasium. My dad had his opportunity working for Coach Pick. You gotta take that and cherish it because it's, I'm telling you, it doesn't exist everywhere. If you're in a special part of your life, you athletes, embrace it, enjoy it, learn from it, and carry it with you. It's my life, Weston, first class. Come on, dude. Wes, get your first standing up, man. Get your first standing up. And my daughter Sophie was letting me know she had soccer tryouts, so she's committed to the soccer. She couldn't be here. I said my grandparents, Dad, love you. Patty, thank you for everything. You've been a tremendous addition to our lives. My mom up in heaven, most important woman in my life. She is who me and Mike were, and who I hope to be as a parent. This quote stuck out to me. It said, it's from an author named Shannon Albert. Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories they share. Thanks for the stories you shared with me tonight, and I hope you'll keep sharing them because that's what Mike was all about. Love you.
And there it is.
I'm just, if I think about it, and I have to think about doing this life without him, it's almost hard for me to even swallow, you know?
And I miss being young with my buddy. And I don't think if you go back in time and live in that time frame of when we were in high school, it was a tough time. It was like you didn't hang out with North Attleboro kids if you were from Attleboro. And if you were from North Attleboro, you didn't hang out with Attleboro kids. But for some reason, we got friends and teammates and people to come together and all play basketball in my house. and we're from different towns that were supposed to be rivals, and we ended up hanging out together, creating friendships through it. I mean, look at me. Peary and DiBiasio, my roommates in college, for Christ's sakes. You know, there's other friendships that happened afterwards with the kids just hanging out. And it's all because we all just wanted to play basketball. It's really what it came down to. Just wanted to play basketball together and have fun.
No, I mean, you know, he's missed every day. He was special. Just always making everyone feel that they were special.
Got really close. I've always been close to both of them, but I got really close to Mike in the last 2 years between doing all that business stuff with AAU with him. Then he brought me on at Thayer. So I mean, I talk to him every day. I talk to him. When the phone would ring, my wife used to say, "Your boyfriend's on the phone."
Irving and Kevin Durant. I said, he'd be teaching me. I wouldn't be teaching him. You know, he passed me a long time ago. You know, coaching something like 16 years at the college level. So I did not look to give him too much advice. But we would just talk, and he would explain things to me. So I think he liked the fact that, hey, you know, we tried this, or we did this, or we did that. And, you know, we just talk about what he was doing to try to win the games, or how they came back, or how they blew the game, or whatever it might have been. But it was a good way for him to vent, and it was a good way for us to connect.
A lot of people know that he's selfless and he's kind, and he does a lot for other people, but like, I think for me, like, Mike was always super busy, but he always showed up.
Those days, John, well, you know, we used to always go to Atlanta. We used to always go to Atlanta and go see John. You know, Mike and I would go to get on the plane and go see John and hang out with John for a couple of days. You know, and that's the thing. Like, Mike and I, we would do a lot of things together. You know, a lot of things together. You know, and that's what it's tough for me to deal with, because he was like my real true guy. Like, I thought we were gonna grow old together. You know what I mean? I thought we were gonna be close by and still golf when we're like in our 80s. You know what I mean? Like, and just hanging out. You know, and for him to leave us, not just me, to leave us at a young age is, and he, like you said, he was hitting his stride up in that North Attleboro area. You know, he was coaching. He was starting to get the AAU program going up there, and he really enjoyed that. He put a lot of time and hard work into that to get it to where it is, and I'm happy that they're honoring him, and because he was a great guy. Everybody that he talked to, everybody you talked to, they have nothing but nice things to say about Mike. And, you know, he was a legend up there.
Remembering all the fun we had, all the stuff that we did together, the laughter, the drunken, stupid nights, waking up on the couch the next day.
At UMass, Carmelo Travieso and Edgar Padilla were the best backcourt in the country. They were on every magazine as we were freshmen. Carmelo lived down the hall from us. Carmelo really took Mike under his wing, and we became very close with Carmelo as freshmen. And being a UMass fan, you're like, oh my God, it's Carmelo and Edgar, where Carmelo really took Mike under his wing. Back in college, used to have the dry erase markers, dry erase boards, and you know, we came home from practice one time because I worked for the team, and the letters KWH were on our board. Mike was like, "What is that?" I have no idea what that is. Thought it was someone's initials, no idea. Happened a couple more times. Then all of a sudden, one of the practices, Carmelo walked in our room and was like, "You guys never said anything about my message." Talking about? He goes, KWH, Mike. He goes, keep working hard. And it kind of reminded me of like that LTD from North Attleboro, where Mike and I would always he always worked hard. He blue collar kid, nothing was ever given to him. He worked for everything he got.
I go to see him at the cemetery. I visit him at the cemetery in Pawtucket at Notre Dame Cemetery, and I give him all the updates, and I just pretend he's listening to me.
It's like he always believed in you, like no matter what. He was always really supportive. Like his big thing was like always be the teammate that you want to be, which was a big thing. Like I guess a lot of like coaches don't really see like the aspects of like doing the little things, which like boxing out, like getting steals, like little things that don't really show up in the box score, which was like a big thing for Mike, which like is a big thing because I'm like a player that does a lot of the little things, so that just really stood out to Mike.
The things that really matter, the laughter, the friendships, the chasing girls, all that stuff that we did, that was fun. It was a good time. It was a release, and I think that gave them the release. When they were young, they had a lot of pressure on them, and they just wanted to be normal. They didn't want to be. They liked that. They liked getting the notoriety, but they didn't want all the extra shit that came along with it. They just wanted to be normal and be treated normal.
If he was in your company, that's all he was worried about, is you. And that tells you, who he is and what he stands for. And, being a friend is, a two-way street. And that's why people felt the way they did at that wake, that he was their friend. And then they look around and said, wow, he was friends with a lot of people. I thought he was friends with me. Right. And that's one of those gifts that he had.
It was one of the top schools in the country for basketball at the time. Calipari left. Mike, stuck with it and was loyal to them, decided to go there as well, continue to go there. But I remember when we got there, everybody knew who Mike was. I mean, there's 30,000 people on the campus of UMass, and a lot of people knew who he was. And then he was always the same kid in the hallway here or walking to class at UMass. People would come up to him, say hi to him. He'd give a, hey, what's up, Chief? And he never changed who he was. I mean, we were at, I remember one time I could see it really changed was at UMass. It was Midnight Madness, ESPN. It was live on ESPN. Mike Tirico was there announcing it, and Mike won the dunk contest as a freshman, and that kind of catapulted his celebrity status, so to speak, at UMass. Everybody knew who he was after that fact. Mike wasn't a friend, he was a brother. And we would walk to class and everybody would, try to talk to him or say hello to him, and he never changed who he was. Uptown in front of Antonio's, same guy. Never changed who he was with the amount of publicity, the amount of people that, wanted to get to know him. He always made everybody feel that they were there, that they were friends with him forever. He had that about him, that he would make everyone feel special.
And he was always there, like when I needed like a reassurance or like some positivity. He was always there. He was always in the stands at games, whether it was my senior day. He had a shirt of him and I on. He was just always been there and supportive.
Sitting in the car with him, man. On these, we used to have long drives. It was just being him, and we'd play music and just talk and have fun, and we would go out. We would go out, and go out, like I said, in the Providence, Rhode Island.
John's doing a hell of a job doing that. He's keeping Mike's spirit alive. It's a little bit harder for me.
And, I just really, really enjoyed the conversations and the company. You know, it was, we were just always with each other. And when I had my son, Brandon, I still to this day have that picture on my phone of him holding Brandon. And, I look at that multiple times when I'm down. I still, I'm still not really over it because there's times when I just want to talk to him.
There's going to be closure at some point, but I haven't hit that point yet. I don't think that's going to be hit for a while for me. Losing your best friend, somebody that meant everything to you, you just can't just flip the switch,
Yeah, we actually, we're going to continue this whole golfing in the summer. That's why I go up to Providence because Mike Babel was the guy that he brought everybody together. You know what I mean? He was the guy. He was the guy that brought everyone together. And he would form, let's meet up in Providence and let's golf, let's hang out, So like we would have 2 foursomes, just eight buddies from the UMass days, and we'll go out and golf and hang out afterwards, And we promised that we're going to continue doing that, continue to keep going up there. I'm going to continue to keep going up there and golf with those guys and. Continue what he started.
And I remember we played Durfee, and it was against Chris Herron. It was a big game again, packed gym, full house. Mike and Jon didn't have a game that night, so they're sitting in the stands, first row, front row, right across from our bench on the front row in the old, the old pull-out stands. So I'm in the game, and fucking Chris is guarding me one-on-one, and I catch the ball out in the wing, and I hear Mike go, "Okay, shoot in his face, shoot in his face." And I pull up, freaking nail a 3 right in Chris Herron's face, dude, and I come down the court like this, and I just remember Mike and Jon were going nuts. They were like slapping each other 5, and it was like my 2 buddies. They were watching my huge game against Durfee, and they were like rooting me on. It was like, when you found your true friends, man. It's like, I tell my kids this all the time. It's hard to find your true friends. It takes a long time sometimes. And sometimes you're lucky if you even find them.
Everybody knows Mike as the athlete, the coach, that person. But for me, it's just my brother. Anybody who has a brother out there understands that. Yeah, I mean, coming from my background now as an adult, I'm a firefighter. I've been a firefighter for 20 years now. And I kind of just fell into it, but when I showed up, I understood what it was. It's about the brotherhood. I was like, all right, I know how to do this. I learned from the best. So.
Yeah, he had an unbelievable demeanor. And part of it was his personality. And he was a giver. Like in this profession, you have to add value to young people. And if you're doing it and you're thinking it's just X and O's, you got to add value to young people. And I saw that in him. I also saw a personality that would care about other people. Like he had a heart for other people. So yeah, I mean, he's what he was able to accomplish in his short life. Retiring his jersey, doing all this. I'm just happy that people recognized who he was, aside from a basketball player. The kind of person, the way he was raised, mom and dad. It was a sad deal when mom passed. And, I can remember seeing his father at a Final Four, as a matter of fact, and gave him a hug. But, and then having a twin brother, you and I don't know how that works. But he and his brother, they were twins. and they were, you know, as one. And, you know, I imagine going through this right now, John's having, this is hard. I know it's hard for his dad, but think about John. I mean, too. I mean, he's, but it's, you know, just a great family. And I'm just happy that our lives crossed and I was able to be a small part of his future and what he was trying to do. And then we don't, you know, why is, you know, and what and when and how, but you know what, it's when he was here, he had an impact, and he impacted everybody around him. And, you know, that says a lot. And for all of us, when it's our time, you just hope, did I make a difference for other people? And when you ask that question of him, it's yes. Yes, he did.
Mike would want John to be extremely happy. He would not want, if he thought John was depressed, he would be pissed.
You know, I hope he gets through this. He can turn the corner, and, you know. I always say, I've got a big hole, but John's hole is bigger.
As soon as Mike, you know, after the funeral and Mike's burial, and, you know, the first thing I wanted to do was, you know, try to get back to whatever normalcy I could for my family, for my kids. You know, Mike was a second dad to Sophie and Wes. He was Uncle Mike. They were with him 2 days before he died, and he looked normal, just like I'm talking right now. That was Mike 2 days before his death. And so for me, it was really about getting through that funeral and the memorial service. And once I got back to Atlanta, you know, I got with my cardiologist, got all my scans, all my tests, and you know, thank God, my heart is in good shape. And that was not the case for Mike. And I gotta imagine it was the lifestyle factors, because having identical DNA, and I go through the ringer and get all the scans, all the blood work. You know, I'm on a blood pressure medicine. I'm on a statin. I always will be. But for me, it's been the grief. Just me and Mike were so close, identical twins. We talked 10 times a day for life, shared every moment of life. And the hardest part for me this year has been figuring out how to deal with that. And there's not a day I don't wake up and he's the first one on my mind, and there's not a day I don't go to bed and he's the last thing on my mind. And there's a million things throughout the day, because I work in a similar field with basketball and listen to the same type of music, and all the things we shared, have the same type of humor, the same movies. There's no way to not think about him all day, every day. And for me, that's been the hardest part.
They say the holy water's watered down, and this town's lost its faith. Our colors will fade eventually, so if our time is running out, day after day, we'll make the mundane our masterpiece.
We were inseparable from the time we came into this world together. He was 6 minutes older, but from as long as I can remember, we did everything together. From going to school, to going on the bus, to collecting baseball cards, to delivering newspapers, to shoveling snow, to mowing the grass at neighbor's house. Like, any job we had, any sport we played, any academic experience we had was done together. Riding to school, whether it was with my mom or dad, or on the bus, or in high school with, you know, Anthony Peary coming and beeping the horn, and we'd hop in his car and cram in with our knees to our chest.
All my life
I went to Georgia Tech, and you know, one of the things I regret is there was so much more we had to do together. You know, I've got a family, but we always talked about running business together. We did our camps in the summer, obviously here, but there was a chapter there that's unwritten and that was going to happen, and I'm trying to keep some of that stuff alive with his hoop work brand and his camps and clinics and keeping his spirit alive. So he's always with me. And the good times, we shared them all together, but what I'll remember most about Mike is he was my guy. He was my phone call when anything was bad. You know, mom was sick, school wasn't going good, you're not getting playing time. If you're coaching, you've had a couple losses. If you're going through a relationship problem, if you're going through parenting issues. We talk probably 10 times a day. And on December 30th, that stopped. And it's just, I can't even quantify the pain and put that into words, or just how weird that was and how it is to kind of navigate that the last year. Other than we had the best time and we didn't waste time and there were no regrets. And that's where the peace comes for me. Like, no regrets. We went through everything in life together. And so when he died, it's not like I wish I would have. The only thing I wish I would have done is had more time with him.
Man, what a hell of a year it's been. Keep on bluffing my
As we come into spring, we look forward to new beginnings and new seasons while looking back and adjusting to life without Mike.
Man, what a hell of a year it's been.
Peary is teaching his students in Stoughton, Massachusetts about heart health, making sure they know the importance of taking care of their own health. Raposa continues to save the community, keeping us safe from those pesky mosquitoes and ticks, 1 yard at a time.
I need some good news. Sitting here sipping on cold truth. Nobody knows what I'm
Patch is thrilled to hear his daughter has one more year at Framingham State, making sure he delivers on his promise to never miss a game.
living this life of being lonely. Trying to get away from the old me.
Brody is keeping his options open for next year, remembering the lessons Coach taught him and to do what's right for him.
Love keeps knocking, but I just stay home.
Bobby and the boys from Thayer are continuing to push forward with new relationships and new beginnings, hoping to be able to feel the same magic again they felt at 24. The Fez is back in the gym getting ready for another Hoops Work camp with Jon, teaching today's youth the lessons he taught them and the ones they taught to him. Fine continues working out the NBA's elite talent like Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, and locals like Chris Dunn. Fide came into her own this past season. Her team went on a magical run, winning their first playoff game since 2017. She's doing it the way she thinks Mike would be doing it, but staying true to herself and her roots. North recently removed the intern from her title. She's now officially the North Attleboro girls varsity basketball coach.
All I really need is a little good news.
Coach Cal and Bruiser were dancing again in March, making it to the Sweet 16. Next year, they're hoping for a more magical run to the Final Four and hoping to get to see Mr. Babul again one more time. Marking his calendar for his son's next game up north at UMass, hoping that trip ends with a win and another slice at Antonio's. Case is coaching his daughter, and while still having a hard time, he's finding joy in watching her execute what Mike taught her to do. Winston is back on the recruiting trail, dazing off, remembering the fun times with Mike he had in the car, and looking forward to the next golfing trip with the fellas. Jeff is protecting his community whenever he is called upon, but finding joy in new beginnings with his marriage and his baby girl. Mr. Babul is looking forward to more days on the lake and seeing Jon and Jeff again soon, but every night before he goes to sleep, he still prays for his boys. Sophie is chasing her dreams and making her own mark in soccer, inspired by the legacy of her uncle, while Wes is dreaming big, hoping one day he can dunk just like his dad and his Uncle Mike.
All I really need is a little good news.
And Jon, he's still learning how to move forward without his best friend, but finding solace and peace with his wife and his family by his side. It hasn't been easy. It's because Mike isn't just a memory. He's alive in the stories we tell and the lessons we teach. Humans like him don't come around often. You were lucky to have known him, and so be thankful for those memories and the impact he had on you. Don't forget them. You see, Mike Babul was out of the ordinary, and you can honor his legacy by continuing to work hard, having humility, being the teammate you would want, and the way he represented himself with pride everywhere he went. No matter what you do in life, give it everything you got, and do it like Mike did, with loyalty, toughness, and discipline.
All I really need is a little good news.
Mike was a good mentor. He was a great leader who taught us how to flip the page, and he always believed in us and supported everyone no matter what. Coach Babul was the best coach of all time. He improved me in a lot of skills. He helped me become the basketball player I am today. He always taught us to give us all. He always had confidence in us, and truly whenever he was around, every moment was special. He always believed in us. Best basketball coach I've ever had, and ever will.
Mike was a great trainer. He was a good basketball player.